This is super exciting, everybody. We have Chrisa Davis here, who is our office manager over at Good Life Inspections. Chrisa has been with us for 13 years, one of the most tenured people here. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to kind of introduce Chrisa, you to a lot of our customers out there and the real estate community. But more importantly, talk about some of the behind the scenes things that you have to deal with. So you are an office manager for Good Life Inspection. So anytime somebody calls the office, it's your team that picks up the call.
Yes.
When somebody emails us, it's your team that responds to the emails.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody needs a report right away, it's your team that processes the termite reports and the home inspection reports and payments. So oftentimes in our business, we know that we do inspections, we do chemical treatments, and that's kind of the forefront, and everybody knows what that takes. I want to talk to you a little bit about the huge part of our business and operations, which is the office, the administrative portion. And you are amazing. We love you. You're really good. And I think you've got some wisdom, maybe some experience to share, which potentially will help other people maybe understand our processes a little better, but also maybe get inspired and maybe want to do what you do.
Okay.
Chrisa, you before you became an office manager, you were a customer specialist
Yes.
for a while. How long?
I was doing customer service for over 20 years.
Okay.
So I came from bigger companies. We are a big company, but MCI, AT&T, was Progressive.
Wow.
So I actually left Progressive to come to North American. So I went from insurance to inspections. Didn't know anything about inspections at all.
Yeah. Well, that's a long time to be in customer service. For most people, a customer service job, which is pretty much a phone person, a secretary position, I don't know how else to describe it, a support position in the office, is a stepping stone. Everybody like, okay, I'll do this, and then I'll move on to doing something more important, better. You stayed in this role for over 20 years. Why?
Well, customer service it doesn't bore me. Again, with each call, it's different. Actually, even if you are not in the customer service call center, we provide customer service every day. Our repair guys, they provide customer service. Our technicians, they provide customer service. I mean, it's a different type of job, but it's still providing, customer service. At one point in time, I did think, you know what, customer service isn't for me. I sit all day. I have to listen to the customers and find solutions for them. And I went to, food service.
Uh-huh.
And I said, food service was not for me. Food service is not for me. I can go back to customer service, which I did. I went from, it was Sacramento Bee. So I left Air Touch Paging.
Okay.
To go to the Sacramento Bee. From the Sacramento Bee, that didn't work out, so I went back to Air Touch Paging, and Air Touch they converted to Verizon Wireless.
Okay.
So that was just something that I love to do. I was customer service, then I went to senior, then lead, retention. So with each position, I was still doing customer service, but I was still climbing up the ladder, but I just like customer service.
Okay. Well, I think there's a couple really important things to be pointed out about you specifically, Chrisa. You are a very patient person. Like, you get to deal with a lot of stress. You are very well composed. You're well spoken. And I attribute all those qualities towards something I call love, something the Bible calls love. And in order for you to serve a person in any capacity, like you said, whether you're helping them schedule an appointment on the phone, expedite an inspection or a report, or you're swinging a hammer fixing their house. If you do that with love, with patience, with kindness, with wanting to make a difference, it's a completely different environment. It's a different attitude and a different environment than coming in and just doing it as a burden. Like, I've got to pull through these 8 hours of listening to people on the phone. Where do you get that compassion, that drive, that desire to serve people?
I think it help within time. So you have to. I sit back and kind of analyze people to see what type of person that they are, because not everyone works the same. And some people require more patience than others. Some people can pick things up really fast, but also putting myself in their shoes, when I was them at one point in time, what did I want? When it comes to work, yeah, we have numbers, we have expectations, but do we always have to follow the rules? Sometimes people don't work that way. So with that, speaking and getting to know our employees here, what they like, what they want, what their expectations are. We have expectations, but sometimes you don't get to sit down with your employees and ask them questions. What do they want? What do they want to see? Sometimes my ways aren't always what will work, and if we meet each other halfway, it ends up working out.
Yeah, that's a good answer. But I wanted to drill down a little deeper, because you are a very unique human being, and you are very servant-oriented. I know that you do a lot for your family. I know that you do a lot for people here that work in our company. You're very loving and caring and put other people first. You also do that on the phone with our customers. Where does that come from? Is that something that was that's kind of part of your
I think it
character?
started from home. My mom.
Okay.
That's where I think I've always watched her serve and put other people first. There's times that I can't, because I have my own opinion when it comes to that, or if I feel that somebody is being a pushover. But I think it actually came from my mom.
Tell me more. I'm more interested. Tell me more about your mom.
So my mom, she was adopted at an early age. Her parents passed away. She had 10 siblings. And out of the 10, only 3 were adopted together.
Okay.
And that was her 2 sisters. She was the middle. She wasn't the oldest. She was the middle out of the 3. And she was adopted by, I don't know the adopted parent, but someone who was in the service. She got pregnant at an early age, and at that time, because she got pregnant at an early age by someone African American. She was disowned by her adopted parents. And from there, it kind of was the same thing with her sisters. Another sister got pregnant. They had to go live in a foster home or a receiving home for women who were pregnant. So my mom had me at 16 years old.
Okay, so you were the first child. All right. So she was very young, in a very unfortunate chain of events of her life, being born into a big family, parents passing away, being adopted.
In adoption back then, she was a native islander of Hawaii. They were not a state at that time. So her adoption records were lost.
Wow.
So to this day, even after she passed away, she never was able to get to know her real family.
Wow. That's very unique. But going through all those difficulties in her life, instead of being resentful and pissed at everybody around her and becoming somebody that's got a very bad attitude, she turned out to be a good example for you on how to love and serve other people.
Yes. Even She went through a lot, even with my dad, abusive relationship, and she just kept going. So, like, she was probably the strongest person that I've known, and I've always looked up to her. She took care of her sisters, even her oldest sister.
Hmm.
She actually kept our family together.
Wow. I think that's huge. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I think that's huge because I think all of us, in our own little ways, can identify ourselves as a victim to the situation, which is super unfortunate. Some more than others, and it's usually by the fault of someone else. This is me getting philosophical and maybe a little more preachy here, but I see this all the time being a counselor and working with a lot of people is usually the harm that comes in people's ways is caused by somebody else. Sometimes it's by bad decisions of our own, and then people usually have a decision to make on what they're going to do. And the fact that your mother made that decision, regardless of the difficult situations in her life, she was still going to do the right thing by her children, by the family, work hard, love, and support everybody else, had an impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Peterson says this thing that we have a much bigger effect on the world than we believe. He says that in about human's lifetime, we have about 1,000 meaningful relationships to where we can actually impact somebody, and on their decision making, on how they're doing, what they're doing, where they're heading. And those people that are affected by us or impacted by us have another 1,000 relationships in their lives, so we can impact that 1,000 through them. So we're about 3 people away from being able to impact the entire world, which right now is like 8 or 9 billion people, whatever it is. So that's huge because you literally get to touch and impact hundreds of people daily and weekly. And the team that you manage over here at Good Life Inspections handle hundreds of calls a day, text messages, emails.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. And when we're doing it with an open heart, with a loving heart, with a compassionate heart, it makes such a difference in people's lives. We promoted you in a very weird and awkward way. I don't know, 6 years ago, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
into a managerial position to go from being a customer service specialist to being a manager of customer service specialist people. And I say it was in a weird way because we didn't necessarily give you a whole lot of support or training. It was like, hey, Chrisa, you're the best at this job. Why don't you now run and manage people? How different is it to be a manager of people that provide customer service versus being a customer service specialist?
It's different because you have to find solutions to make the team better. How to make things go a little bit smoother than it used to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had my ways as far as customer service and dealing with my customers, but now I have a team behind me that impact every call. So how do we make their transition to where it's smooth, that they are getting everything that they need and they're being heard on the phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you keep your team? Your team gets beat up all the time. And maybe this is something for our real estate customers to be aware of, that when you call our office and you're upset or you're mad or maybe you are in a crunch, you need something now. Our office team gets a lot of pressure, although they're usually never the one that, if we ever make a mistake, it's usually not them who made a mistake. But they get yelled at, they get all the demands, they get all the attitude on the phone. And sometimes I'm just impressed by the mental strength that you guys have to have to handle a call after a call after a call. And we must do that to love and serve our customers, but I don't think you guys get enough credit. So how do you keep your team from quitting? How do you keep it motivated and inspired and moving in the right direction?
Well, when we have our Wednesday meetings, we do, our team does let their frustration out. But the number one thing that I do let them know is it's not anything personal against you. They're calling our company. Our company is who's providing the service, and they need solutions. With each call, if they have a really bad call, I tell them go on D&D and take a walk. Sometimes
And
you
D&D
need
is
do not disturb.
okay. So our phones have a button. This is D&D, so they can click that button, take a 5-minute breather, so their phones won't ring. The other phones with other people will ring, but they get to
Right.
take a
'Cause
little breather.
sometimes you need that 5 minutes because we don't want our next customer to feel the stress that you're going through.
Ah, I didn't even think about that. So yeah, if you get stressed out, spending from the previous transaction, you got to reset.
Right.
So then when the next person calls, you can be polite, sweet, honest, quick.
Yep. Focus so you're not thinking about that next call, listening to our customers. But yes, sometimes you do need that reset. A lot of our customer service reps now do know that it's not personally against them. They just have a issue that we need to resolve.
That's awesome. So being above the actual situation and having a level of compassion to the person calling and trying to understand their issue and situation. Well, that's awesome. You have to provide solutions all the time. You were just sharing with me about, right before we started recording, about a customer because of in today's world, the contingency periods are so short.
Yes.
What are they? What are you feeling on the phone?
Anywhere from 5 to 7 days. So on a Monday, someone needs their inspection completed on Tuesday or right now. So what are we going to do for the customers? And with our calendar, it's a puzzle because right now we're averaging about a week. We're scheduled out or booked out a week. So we need to put pieces together like a puzzle and make it happen and find solutions. Sometimes we can get all the inspections on one day, but other times we have to get creative and give them different days, but still be able to help them meet their contingencies.
And for those people watching right now that don't know what you're talking about when you say do all inspections in one day, what are you talking about?
So scheduling home, termite, pest, roof, all the same day, same time.
So that's something we started doing many years ago.
Yes.
To where if a client wants to schedule all their inspections, they can schedule all of them with our company for the same time, make one payment, receive all the reports.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. And it's also convenient. The agent doesn't have to go back and forth to the property on multiple days.
So that's super awesome. But right now with the very short contingency period, sometimes you're having to break it apart and actually have them come in two separate time frames to squeeze the inspections in as soon as possible.
Correct.
That's awesome. Chrisa, well, you guys also process reports.
We do.
What does that mean?
So the inspectors go out to the property, inspect the property. They write their reports and bring it to the office. The office just double checks to make sure findings, and recommendations are on the report, what pricing, and convert it and send it out to the agents.
So you guys proof the reports.
Yes.
Make sure the address is correct. Make sure the client information is correct. Make sure that all the findings match and are present on the diagram.
Correct.
And all those things. You also send a copy of all the reports to the Structural Pest Control Board.
Yes.
How often?
Every Friday.
Okay, so weekly. And is that the law that it has to be sent in weekly?
We have 10 days to have it submitted to the board.
Once we perform the inspection.
Correct.
So that's something that maybe some of our customers don't know. Every time we perform a termite inspection, We send a copy to you, but then we also send a copy of it to the structural pest control board, and it becomes public information. Anybody can request
Yes.
and get a copy of that.
From the board, I believe we have 3 business days to reply to the board. So once someone requests a copy from the board will notify our company, and we have 3 days to comply and get that
It's
information.
because we think the board just likes to put their work on us sometimes. They have a copy of the report. What usually happens is if you're a realtor and you want to see if there were any termite inspections performed on the property, any reports present within the last 2 years, you can call the Structural Pest Control Board and request any reports that were performed. And they have the copies of those reports, but instead of digging those copies up, what they usually do is they
Just
call us and we produce those copies to them, and they share it with the consumer. That's good to know.
You can even go online with the structural pest board to put the address in, and it will search to see if any companies have ever been to the property.
What do you, Chris, I mean, obviously you've worked in many different industries. What do you find different in this industry, working for an inspection company that primarily focuses on servicing the real estate community?
I mean, here is fast pace, and also just being able to put the pieces together and servicing our agents. I like it. Their experience, they will even tell you, "Hey, I love you. You saved my deal." So it's like even our customer service reps get a smile out of that when the agent says, "I love you guys. You guys just saved my deal. You don't believe I love Good Life. Good Life I'm using for everything." Like with cell phone service, you don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I took care of their issue with their bill. We went and explained everything, itemized everything. It's just different, the experience that you get from the agent versus the customer. Not saying it's just 2 different industries. As far as the praising, you actually feel that it's genuine. And then that agent that you put the pieces together for, they're calling back asking. I get that all the time. I want to talk to Kaya. Is Kaya here? No, Kaya. Okay, I'm going to call back. What can I help you with? Or they'll call the inspector because Kaya's not here. Or even Yvonne, our 2 seniors. But it's just the praise and the appreciation that you get from the agents. Even sometimes the customers will call and give Yelp reviews to give the experience that that we provided to them.
Yeah, and that's something you guys have been phenomenal at, because when we get a lot of our Yelp or Google reviews, they will actually name you or Kaya or Taji or Yvonne or anybody else, so you know that they have a close enough relationship to actually remember your name. So what you're saying is oftentimes you're serving real estate customers, realtors, and because of the repetitive amount of business we do together, you get to actually somewhat build a relationship.
Yeah.
And be a part of their transaction. I know I've seen some realtors pop into our office here, and sometimes some realtors come in and bring you guys snacks, hang out with you guys. Give me 3 real estate names. We're going to do a shout out to 3 of our most popular or famous realtors with our office team.
I like working with Kim Pacini because Suzanne is just easy to deal with, and I know what she wants. Jay Freeman, it's the agents that I've worked with 13 years ago. Like, I know what they want. They want you to take the address and the client information, and that's it.
All right, one more.
Who else? I don't know. I can't think. I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right. So you got a shout out. We got a shout out going out to Kim Pacini and a shout out going to Jay Friedman. Thank you guys for using and loving our office. What else do you think is important in your position, in your role, and what you guys do? What do you think is not noticed or not paid close enough attention? What do I, as the owner of the business, fail to recognize about your guys' job?
Well, you're a different owner because not owners come and talk to their employees. So my like our team just likes when you do come in and you recognize if you work for a bigger company, we don't see that. Normally you see the owner of the company if you're in trouble. So for our team, I don't think it's not what you, the owner. I think it's more of what people don't see behind the scene and what they go through every day. Like yesterday, we booked, what is it, 72 inspections. But, I mean, everyone doesn't see what the representatives go through in every single one of those calls. So, yes, we booked 72 inspections, but how many calls did they have to go through that day?
What do
Because
you
not
think?
all calls.
What was the call volume on a Monday like that?
So I think recently our highest for a Monday was 174 calls.
And you have 5 people.
We have 4 people.
4 people.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you mentioned that's really difficult about your job is because, like, being late, if any of your team members are late or no show or call in sick,
It affects
it's
the whole
a
team
huge effect on
and
because
our customers.
yeah, and giving time off. If somebody's you have 5 people on your team, you give a day off to somebody, and on that same day, you've got another person calling in sick. That's like half the team you actually need to facilitate those calls. How do you go through that? How do you deal with that?
So there's times that I have to jump in and help out the team because we're a team, so we need to help each other. Just because someone's calling in, I'm not like, oh, it's my team's fault. I'm part of my team. So I need to support my team when we have crunches. And at times we will have someone that's sick and someone that actually scheduled a vacation, and we still have to service our customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's tough. Something people don't know. And the majority of our calls coming in, if you got 160 calls coming in, it's not like all those came in at the exact 10-minute, time frames throughout the 8-hour day. Like 120 of those are going to be between 11 and 1 p.m.
Right. Then we'll have a rush at the end of the day.
So it's crazy. So if you're calling us from 11 to 1, just know that is the highest call volume, maybe from 10 to 1.
On Mondays, it's 8. It starts at exactly at 8. But we now are open on the weekends, so we're 8 to 12. So that has been helping.
On Saturdays.
On Saturday.
So if you want to schedule inspections or need to call our office, you can call on Saturdays from 8 to 10. Why are we open on Saturdays?
Because we're servicing our people. No, I mean, we have cancellations on the weekends where, the deal fell through on Friday at 5 o'clock. So that helps make availability for other people. We do callbacks if people need to get in sooner. And we have inspections on Saturday.
Do we process reports at Saturdays?
We process reports Saturday.
That's huge. So if you had Good Life do an inspection for you on a Friday, well, in the old days, way back in the day, here at Good Life, you would have to wait till Monday to actually receive the report. But nowadays, we have somebody coming into the office on Saturdays to process the reports, as long as the inspectors turn them in, because sometimes it's a complicated inspection. It's got 25 findings on it, and they actually need it. Chrisa, what is the best way for somebody to schedule an inspection with our office?
Text or email.
And do you know the text phone number by heart?
Yes, 916-481-0268 is our phone number.
All right, it's going to be on the screen and maybe even clickable in the description of this video. What's another good way to schedule an inspection with us?
Email.
And what's the email address?
It is orders@nahspro.com.
All right. And then people can also go to our website?
Yes, you can submit a submission online.
And then that comes into our office and we can process the report. So if you've got an inspection and you don't want to sit on the phone, call in our office. You can text, you can email, go online, but calls are always welcome. Give us a call to set it up. Well, that's awesome, Chrisa. Thank you for this conversation. I wanted to give you some kudos and just I've said this to you in the past, but it's been a while. When we went through COVID 4 years ago, has it been 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right about this time, because it kicked in March, and it was about 2 months, April and May of 2020. We had to pretty much close down our office. People were scared. We had some employees that were afraid to show up
Mm-hmm.
because nobody wanted to die or bring COVID to their family and have their family die. There was a lot of unknown.
Right.
We had to sanitize the office regularly. And there was like a month of when you single-handedly ran our entire office operation. And I've mentioned this to you before, but I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
You are a very unique person, hardworking, smart. But those are all great things that a lot of people have. A lot of people are smart. A lot of people are, unique. But you have a very good attitude. You love people. You serve people. I believe you make an impact on a lot of people's lives. We get to be doing an inspection. We get to be an important component of one of the biggest decisions in people's lives, making an investment, buying a house. And they trust us to tell them whether this house is good,
Mm-hmm.
in good condition, or this house is a bad condition, and how much it's going to cost to fix it. And the loan is contingent upon our inspection and so many other things. And what you do for us, I appreciate you. What you do for me, what you do for your team and our company, especially our customers, is huge. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right.